the nozzle should be blocked by a finger and the glue compound is poured into it till it fills up to the brim. Now this glue compound is allowed to flow through the nozzle till it is completely empty, and efflux time is measured, which should be 30 to 33 seconds. If the efflux time measured is less than the specified time limit, then glue powder is to be added, and if it is more, then cyclohexanone must be added in the compound. This has to be continuously checked till the exact efflux time is achieved. So, now we have the exact glue compound ready for use. The following care should be taken for storing the gluing compound for a longer period. Since the glue compound is highly inflammable, it should be kept away from fire, open electrical wiring, etc. It should be stored in a tightly fitted closed container. The viscosity is to be checked before use of the glue compound. However, it is advisable to avoid storing of the glue compound in large quantity. It is also important to check local regulations. How to operate the gluing machine? Modules are made from the formed sheets with the help of a semi-automatic gluing machine. Munters has developed this very basic and simple machine which any unskilled worker can operate. This machine consists of two counter-rotating steel rollers driven by a motor and a reduction gearbox. The bottom roller is dipped in the glue compound kept in a tray. The thickness of the film of glue is controlled by means of a doctor's blade pressed along the length of the bottom roller. The adjustment of this blade is done by rotating the knob so that the blade and the roller gap is as per the required dimension. This may be checked with the help of a filler gauge. Care should be taken so that the gap between the roller and the doctor's blade is uniform along the entire length of the roller. The position of the blade, if required, may be adjusted by loosening the small bolts on the doctor's blade. The basic gluing machine has single-phase 220 volts 50 Hz motor. For larger quantities, more sophisticated and automated gluing machine can be provided. What should be the thickness of glue compound film for various fill thicknesses? To maintain right film thickness of the glue compound, the gap between the roller and blade should be 0.15 millimeters for a fill having thickness up to 0.3 millimeters. Any fill having thickness above 0.3 and up to 0.7 millimeters, the gap between the roller and the blade will vary from 0.15 millimeters to 0.25 millimeters. What should be the gap between the rollers? The gap between the steel rollers should be such that the fill acquires just enough nip to get conveyed forward. Care should be taken while adjusting nip of the rollers so that the fill is not pressed between the rollers excessively. This can damage the formation of the fill. How to adjust the gap between the rollers? To adjust the gap between the rollers, first we have to remove the safety guard of the chain and sprocket. The chain of the sprocket may be too tight or too loose and may obstruct free movement of the roller. For this, the tension adjusting sprocket should be loosened and made free. Then we loosen the nut to facilitate free movement up and down of the bearing block which holds the upper roller. After this, the correct position of the roller is checked by inserting the fill. When the final position is achieved, All the nuts and bolts are to be retightened and the safety guard has to be refitted. How to make the gluing mold? The glue mold is fabricated from hollow steel sections or from wooden plyboards. The dimension of the mold depends on the size of the module to be built. It is very important that the length of the mold should be equal to the length of the fills, with a maximum tolerance of ±3 millimeters. For the first gluing operation, a minimum of 16 molds are required for preparing a large number of modules. For other quantities, depending upon the speed required, the following quantities of molds are recommended. Up to 100 cubic meters, 3 molds. For 100 to 500 cubic meters, 6 molds. For 500 to 1000 cubic meters, 9 molds. And for 1000 to 5000 cubic meters, 16 molds are recommended. Refer to Munters India Limited in case you want to change the quantities of molds for ensuring different speeds of operation. How to glue the fill sheets? The prepared glue solution is poured into the glue tray below the bottom roller. The drain valve should be tightly closed before pouring the glue. Care should be taken to check that the lower roller is sufficiently dipped in the glue compound to ensure that while rotating entire surface of the bottom roller has a film of glue compound. Fills are stacked near the gluing machine, and to start gluing operation, the stretch wrap of the fill packet is opened and divided into 2 equal parts and placed on the gluing table in a manner so that one part is placed on the table near the operator, whereas the other part is placed upside down on the other side of the table. That means the flute angle will be opposite to each other. The platform width of gluing machine is approximately 700 millimeters and is suitable for placing 2 stacks of 300 millimeters wide fill sheets. For wider fill sheets, up to 600 millimeters, a separate platform or table may be placed adjacent to the main platform so that 2 stacks of sheets are kept side by side. The mold as per the size of the fill is placed near the gluing machine at a convenient operating height. For gluing operation, 2 operators are required. The first operator will place 1 formed sheet in the mold without the glue. The second operator pushes the formed sheet through the gluing device when the first operator is ready. The first operator holds the front end of the formed sheet by the left hand and the other end by the right hand. The formed fill wetted with glue on the lower side are arranged one over the other in the mold. Care should be taken that the second operator pushes the formed fills alternately from each stack, which results finally to form a cross-fluted module. When the required height of the module is reached, a plyboard of approximately 10 to 15 millimeter thickness is placed on top of the module. The module thus prepared along with the mold should be removed for drying. The glued modules should be allowed to dry for approximately 30 minutes to 1 hour before taking them out of the mold for final drying. For quicker drying, sufficient aeration must be provided. Before installation, the glued modules should be kept outside for final drying for a period of 24 hours to attain the required strength. With 1 gluing machine and 2 semi-skilled workmen, the following quantities of fill can be glued in 1 hour. 2.5 cubic meter of C1012 or FB1012 fill is glued. 4 cubic meter of C1019 or FB1019 fill is glued. 6 cubic meter of C1027 or FB1027 fill is glued. For any further information, contact Munters India Limited.